Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for this session this morning. We thought, obviously, it'd be nice to wrap up the year by celebrating all the work that you've been doing and look at the impact that the Core Skills programme has had on you as a trainer. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start. So the session is being recorded and all your lines will be muted. We're going to be hearing from 4 trainers today, and we'd welcome your comments in the chat box as we go through, which we'll refer back to at the end of the session. We'll also have a little sort of comments and Q&A session at the end where we'll open up all your lines. Now, later today, you'll receive notification when the recording of this has gone live on the hub. And we'll put the presentations up there as well, and there'll also be a little forum section for you to add your thoughts and comments to as well. So today we're joined by Douglas, who I'm sure you all know, and Mariam Begum from Bangladesh, Mary Matende of Uganda, and Sarah Faison Malik of Pakistan. So first of all, I'd like to hand over to Susan, if I may.
Yeah, you may, Joanne. Thanks ever so much, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody here. It's lovely to see you all. Sort of. I mean, I can see some of you. I'd love to see all of you, and I'd love to see all of you in person, obviously. Yeah. So I'm Susan Douglas. I think I do know many of you. I see many friends online this morning, which is a lovely treat, actually, because it's not 22 degrees here in London, Tedman. It's about 8, and it's grey and it's miserable, but actually talking to all of you is brightening my day considerably. So my name's Susan Douglas. I'm lucky enough to work for the British Council, something I've now done for 16 years. And I just really wanted to open by passing on behalf of the British Council, our thanks to you, our Master Trainer and Trainer Network. You are such a valued part of the British Council schools work. We couldn't do what we do without you, obviously. You are the people that make things happen. And in what has been such an extraordinary period of our history, with so many challenges. I mean, not only related to COVID, but in relation to lots of the countries in which we work, struggling with all sorts of issues. All I've seen around the world are educators being even more committed and demonstrating even greater resilience in finding ways to educate young people as best as they can in what has been extraordinarily challenging circumstances. And the part that you have all played in supporting teachers to do that role, is just hugely appreciated by myself, by Imagine Education, and by the British Council Schools team in general. Lots of whom are on the call today. We've got Maisa and Lorna and Tedman and Shingi and all of those people who, we just couldn't do the work that we do without you. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from our various speakers this morning. It's going to be great to hear their experiences and the successes that they've had, including, some of the challenges that they've had to overcome as well during this period. So thank you from us, and look forward to hearing more this morning.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Susan. So now we'll go over to Mirza Beg from Bangladesh, and I'd just like to thank him, and also Mariam, who we'll hear from later. As he said before, it's a National Holiday Victory Day today, so thank you for taking the time out and fitting this in. Mirza, I'll just share your presentation now.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne. Okay, I think everybody can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I start, Joanne?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So first, thank you, Joanne, and thanks Imagine Education and British Council and all the trainers from around the globe. And good to be here. And you can see in my screen. Can you go back, Joanne? Go back. Yeah, so that's me. In case you don't know, I'm Mirza Beg, consultant trainer, Progress Consultants Limited from Bangladesh. So very good afternoon and good morning also from some country to some country. So can we go to the next slide? please. Yeah, so I think you need to know my role, because I'm not dealing directly with the students, right? And especially I'm involved with the teachers. And if you see the last point, that I have been involved with British Council Core Skills Training Program from 2016. So that's my role, and that is why. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So I will share today in brief, because 10 minutes time, that change in me. And I have a two role. I'm a facilitator and I'm also a manager, or you can call me administrator. So that's dual role I have. So impact is there from both ends. That's wonderful. And then thanks to Core Skills Training Program from British Council. And teachers' experience in the classroom. And I told you earlier that I'm not dealing with the students. So I'm going to share teacher and students experience through one of my participants, Core Skills participants, and I'm going to share his experience after he gets the training from us on Core Skills, and what he thinks about his classroom and about himself. So that's I'm going to share. And the last one is way forward. That means my view, my personal opinion, that how I am looking in future with this wonderful Core Skills program. Okay, and Joanne, thanks. Next slide, please. Okay, so you can see the first point is change in mindset, not only as a professional, but as a human being. So lots of things, my vision, my perspective, looking into the things in different, angle. So lots of things are there. And this I think helped me a lot, both professionally and both individually in different, program and different, I think, social contact. That's about mindset. And coming back to the facilitator, I think you all, there are wonderful, renowned facilitators are there. You must have agreed with me that taking sessions now has lots of wonderful things that I can engage the participant very well. Not only I'm enjoying, I think participants also enjoy the session, and I can plan the session, right? And time management. Sometimes you have, suppose in my own program, there are quizzes, so I have less time, so I can, take my session, I think maybe mid level or deep level, depending on my time slot. So that's I think in short, facilitation is something very different from delivery point of view. And the lastly, again, I'm repeating that one, that I have to do a managerial role and administrative role also. And that if you are dealing with the program on lots of clients, there are some crises, there are pressure, and I think especially the CTPS, that wonderful part, give you some what you call tools to deal with the matter and quite I think intelligently. And decision making, sometimes I have to take decision, and I'm not saying the decision is 100% correct, but chances that my decision do matters in lots of meeting, and with the internal team and outside team, and even with the government team. So that's you can see changes in me in brief. Yeah. So can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, that's I told you before that at the moment, I think a couple of weeks ago, I have completed one training program on critical thinking, problem solving, and I'm going to share this gentleman, the Mushfiqul Haq, a lecturer in English from Cadet College, and I told him after the training program, why not? This is their assignment also. So why not you try the CTPS approach in the classroom and share your experience, which I'm going to share you right now. But next slide, you will see his remarks. So I'm going to ask you just skim through for 30 seconds, and you will understand that what he is looking at. I think look at his remarks. Quote from Mushfiq, Mr. Mushfiq. Yeah, can you go there? Can you go there? Yeah. Yeah, so I think just key points at the last line, and if you see the last lines, the teaching seems quite easy and less stressful. This is not only for the teachers, I think as a facilitators, I think you do agree with me, and there are certain things questioning technique. So that's very, very important to take the class deeper, and inspiration. And again, I said earlier that made me, he said, made me and my students enjoy the class. So that's absolutely wonderful. And I think, core skills are giving us this sort of tools and technique to, address. So can we go to the next slide, Joanne? Yeah, so I'm just, you can see on the at the top that before core skills. So this is the context of the cadets college, and this gentleman. It's very nice to have him, Mr. Mushfiq. So this is the common, scenario of the class size and class context, and this is the electronic board, very, very advanced ones they are using. Flat board, I think the flat panel, they said, old computer they are using. So before the core skills and after the core skills, just go to the next class. You can see that he changed his classroom pattern and is teaching things. Can we go to the next slide, please, Joanne? And this is what he is doing after the course, because according to this gentleman, and you see that more involvement with the teachers, and what I think teacher talk time, if you can say that, getting less, and I think students are involving more. So that's the change after the course, because I think has happened to every one of us, not only teachers. I think as a facilitators, I said earlier that change in me also. So Joanne, thank you. Next, go to the next slide. Impact on the classroom teaching, again from Mushfiq and from me also. Together we discuss that impact, and we discuss, and there are lots of common things are there. So you see, just go through. I'm going to give you some key elements like reduced lecture elements. So that's a very, very important thing. Question technique, I think we all develop, and students oriented with the doing research. That's the, I think, CTPS focus, that students should learn to research, learn to find the evidence, learn to do gather information from other sources, and that is happening. Those who are getting this training program, that's a wonderful to have this thing. And digitally literate, another important one. I think digital skills, I think global, especially the young generation, is far more advanced. But again, in terms of digital literate and awareness, there are issues, and I think core skills has given us that message that entire generation needs to be digitally literate. So that's a wonderful thing. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So it's continuation of impact. So pandemic, I think we all agree that, especially in our country, if you go outside Dhaka, our semi-urban and rural population are there, especially in the education sectors. Most of them become oriented. So, hello, yeah, Joanne, I think I can't see the slide, Joanne. Joanne,
Sorry.
can you hear?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear
no,
you.
nobody,
Sorry.
nobody.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I
There we
can't.
are.
Yeah, yeah, okay. No, nobody, nobody. That's absolutely okay. So I think the teaching forces, especially from the rural area, get oriented, and that is advantage because the digital literacy is coming. So it helped us a lot to go and discuss our things with them. So that's wonderful. And that from the learner's point of view, they don't like typical classes. They are much, used to Facebook, virtual games, PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. So they usually do not like typical classes. They want something new. And I think taking class, applying the core skills features, I think not 100%, but taking us there close to the students, and both students and teachers are enjoying and learning. So that's happening, I think, from the core skills. And technology, the last point, keeps on changing, and we need to incorporate and accommodate. I think this is happening not only in education sectors, in all the sectors. And I think the upcoming program in Bangladesh, I don't know about the other country, but the upcoming digital literacy program we are going to start, I think it has already started on behalf of British Council. It's going to, go take us far more closer to those virtual platform. And I think my last slide, can we go to my last slide, please, Joanne. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. And this is fine. This is my personal opinion because you know that I have been working. Lovely to be, working with British Council as a core skills trainer for 2016, from 2016, and yeah, I learned from wonderful, trainers also and teachers also. And I think your first issue that if I want to be heard, with any program, and it has to start from the government. I think British Council in Bangladesh, I think other countries also, they are bringing government on board. So it's happening, not 100% again, but it's happening. It's already started, and all teachers need this core skills training. That's, I also agree that all teachers still, whether we completed all teachers or not, that's with the British Council team. I don't have that information, but we are doing fine with the government teachers. And I underline the two things. Managers, that principal and vice principal. So if we want to give full support to the teachers who are taking the course and started taking the classes, they must need, everybody knows that they must need school managers support. That is why in the last line I said that managerial elements are there in CTPS, so that's needed for the school managers. But my request to British Council here, that instructional leadership training still hasn't rolled yet. But if you match, I don't know whether, I don't know about the other country, but if you match the need of the school manager, educationalists and government bodies, I think instructional leadership and CTPs both have interconnections, and they are in line with the school manager, and they need this training. So to British Council and you people, that in future, I think instructional leadership training should roll for the school managers, because they need this thing very, very badly, rather than going for the introduction to core skills. That is okay, but for the training, instructional leadership should come. So I think I have covered the 10 minutes, and I have to stop here, but I must give a big thanks for you all for giving me a patient hearing. If you have any questions, I think Mariam Appa is also there to answer. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mirza. Thank you very much. As you said, if you've got any questions or comments on the back of that presentation, you can either pop them in the chat and we'll come to them at the end of the presentations, or you can open your line up when we come to the end Q&A session. So thank you very much, Mirza. Thank you for that. So now we'll go to Uganda, where we're going to hear from Mary Matende. Mary, are you okay to unmute your line?
Yes, I am here online. Good afternoon, everybody. For me, it's afternoon anyway. I don't know about others. It's already afternoon here. I'm Mary from Uganda, as you've heard. I am a core skills trainer for school leaders and teachers in Uganda. And I've been doing this since 2014, when it was still CC2. Then it transformed to CC3 and CC4. I've been there all that time. This is now what my side of that short story that you're waiting to hear. I hope it will be as interesting as the one from Bangladesh. I liked that. So how the core skills I've gained have changed my practice. People, this changes your practice forever. And it does so completely that you can't move backwards. For example, the first thing that happens to me is planning, and I heard it from Beg as well. Planning is critical for me. There's nothing I can do without planning for it and walking through the steps there very carefully to ensure that actually what I want to do is that. The planning aspect of it is so critical. It is one thing that has changed me so totally. Even if I have a one agenda item that item meeting that I'm going to chair, I still want to write it down. I still want to make sure that everything is in order. So that planning aspect is something that has really changed my life. Secondly, I've learned that there are different perspectives to every idea, and because there are so many different perspectives to every idea, I do not want to work alone. I want to engage other people. I want to hear what their views are, because those different ideas from people will enrich my own ideas at the least, or at least they will give me other ideas to include. I did not tell you that my work is a policy maker. I am a policy maker working with the Ministry of Education and Sports at the headquarters. So I make policy. I am not directly inside the classroom. I'm not even a manager of a school, but I am at that level where I make policies for others. So that has changed my idea of how I draft my policies. I have to get ideas from other people. And then also, because I need ideas from other people, I have learned to be a better communicator and a more effective collaborator. It has changed me completely. I need things from people, and therefore I must know how to approach them. I must know the words to use. I must know how to go about it. Okay, another thing that I have that has really changed me is that as a result of the need for input from other people in order to enrich my own papers or ideas, I create different deadlines from the deadlines that have been given to me, so that I can finish my work ahead of time, so that other people can get time also to give me their input before the actual deadline for submission of the work. So I work faster because of the fact that I will need input from others. And with the input from others, the quality of my work is far, far better than it has ever been as a result of this training. And also, I have learned to ask questions. I am now Miss Madam Questions. I ask so many questions. I try to play the devil's advocate even when I'm preparing a paper, to try and get into the other person's mind to see what questions they might have, so that I can have answers to those questions within my work. And that also has improved the quality of my work. So questioning aspect has become part of me, so much so that even when I'm at home, I still ask questions. I do not tell people, I still ask them questions. Now, about mindset change, you know, mindset has totally changed. If one's practice has to change like that, the mindset also has to be different. I used to think, for example, that content delivery in the classroom is the most important thing for a teacher. But now I know that delivery of content is not the most critical. The most critical thing for the teacher is delivery of the skills and competencies. The content is really a vehicle. So we can say that the content is the means, the end is the competencies and the skills that the learner obtains. I've also learned, I used to think that the most important quality of a good teacher is that they must be knowledgeable of their subject matter. But now today I think differently. I think the most important quality of a good teacher is their ability to ask very good questions, both open and closed. We know that the open questions are the ones that make the learner think more and dig deeper. But I've also learned that to get there, one has to be, a teacher has to know how to ask those questions sequentially, so that they begin with the soft, closed questions and draw out the learners slowly until they find themselves in the deep end without realizing that they've actually gone that deep. So the quality of a teacher is to be able to draw out the learners like that. So now that is the kind of mindset that I have about how lessons should be planned and taught. Okay. The most of the content we learn in the classroom, I have learned, may not be useful in life, most of it. But what really one goes with to the world everywhere is the competencies and the skills that they acquire. Those are the ones that they move with throughout life. Then I wanted to talk about the focus on the different skills and how you asked how did the different focus on skills and competencies, how it has engaged different types of learners. Remember, I am a policy maker. I work at the Ministry of Education and Sports, not actively engaged in the classroom. However, with every training session that I've been in, because of the different mindset that I've already explained to you, I always tried to give an example of how an engaging classroom could look like, using a subject that is usually one of those subjects that people think is difficult to engage the learners in. So I'm lucky. I used to teach one of those subjects. I'm a teacher by training, so that's how I came to be promoted to this level. But with the kind of training from British Council, I now can prepare a lesson that is engaging within that kind of subject, and I give it as an example. But what I usually do is to, after giving it to people, I also try to get the teachers, the leaders, since they are all teachers, to do a mini lesson. I call it trialing, for a few minutes, to get the questions they could have asked, to give the kind of activities they could have set for the learners. And it is amazing how these teachers utilize the different skills to widen engagement of learners. Here in Uganda, we have dwelt mainly on critical thinking and problem solving, but even within here, you see people trying to get learners to do different things. They can say, now present your work in writing, and you see who is very good at writing, who is this person who is good at bringing it out in a kind of pictorial form, who is this, and sometimes the teachers could even go further and say, present this your own way. That is when you see the creativity really coming out. Opportunities outside the classroom. I don't deal directly with the classroom, but let me tell you this, every engagement that I've had for me is a learning opportunity, and I call myself the learning facilitator. I actually borrowed this from Dr. G, and I understood it, and now I also use it shamelessly. Dr. G, that is your work, and I have picked it up. I'm using it. I need to say here that I should thank you, British Council, so much for taking us through this training. It has really changed us a lot. But for Uganda specifically, we are now in a phase where we are changing. We are making our curriculum competence-based. The ordinary level curriculum, we are turning it so that it is competence-based. With the help of British Council, this is moving very smoothly. The change is occurring very smoothly, and British Council is continuing to support us. I think that if we move on like this, give us about 1 year, 2 years, and we'll have a very good classroom at O level, a classroom that is highly engaging. The teachers are also just getting into this. I want to come to an end. I have to repeat that for me, asking questions is very critical. I have realized even when I'm here at headquarters that people speak very little. When you ask them, they will give you very little. But when you question, they give you more, they clarify, they qualify what they talked about, they give examples, they give illustrations. And I just want to say thank you to British Council. I have come to the end. Joanne, back to you, please.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Mary. It's really interesting to hear how you get the best out of people, and yeah, be shameless with using that name. That's not a problem at all. So now we'd like to go over to Pakistan and hear from Sarah Faison Malik. Sarah, if you're okay to unmute.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you see my slides?
Not yet, Sarah, no.
Not yet. Just give me a second. Just a second. I'll start sharing again.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
No, I still can't see it. I can see you're trying to share something, but it's just not come through yet because the screen has changed.
It is requesting forgiving control.
Okay, so I've not got a notification. You should be able to, just bear with me.
Because what I can see on my screen is that it's sharing, the documents and the PowerPoint is being shared.
Okay, no, I can't see it at this end. You should have all the permissions. It worked before, didn't it, when you were on?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like Sarah's just dropped off. So we'll see if she rejoins in a little while. Here she is.
Sorry, I lost connection as usual. It happens.
I can see your screen now.
You can see my screen now? That's perfect. Let me open. Now, is this visible? The
Yes.
PowerPoint slide, the pink color slides.
Yeah.
I've used the British Council pink. I've tried to use the British Council pink. Anyways, I'm Sara Faizan Malik working as a global master trainer from Pakistan. This is for everybody. Remembering those old days, those days when we were being trained by all the wonderful expert trainers from all over the world. So yes, Connecting Classroom 4 is going to be remembered, especially in this time when, since 1.5 years we are facing the pandemic. So this CC4 has been really special to us. We have entered special circumstances, but again, I would like to thank British Council team for giving us this support and helping us emotionally and professionally through those webinars and through those coffee meetings. I remember when we had Jane discussing a few things over a cup of coffee and we practicing Kahoot together. Anyways, my role as a GMT in core skills, leadership, instructional leadership, ISA, even today we had the ISA ceremony being held in Pakistan, and there were around 170 schools who had actually won the award. So the journey has been great, it has been smooth, and we have really enjoyed working with different types of people, different types of trainers, master trainers, validating master trainers, school teachers, and again, as I also work in a teachers training organization, I've also been lucky to work with the students as well. How can we forget working with the students when we just talk about working with so many beautiful ideas like inculcating core skills and leadership in our daily practices. So well, I'll be talking about both the public and the private sectors there where we work, because in Pakistan, most of you who have visited Pakistan must have seen there's a vast difference in what people are actually practicing in the public sector and what is happening in the private sector. Even in the private sector, we have the different types of streams of schools, the elite schools and the not so very, I would say, the schools with a lot of resources. They are basically the low-income private schools. So I have tried to acquire a lot of skills and, all through those practices that have been doing in the field, personally working on my professional development skills, my personal development skills, improving on my communication, because a lot of many places we need to be bilingual, we need to be switching in between, even the Urdu and at times the third language, that is Punjabi, at times that happens. But yes, improving our soft skills and personal skills and professional skills when it comes to working with the head teachers, especially in the public sector, because they demand for a lot of respect and they have their own ego issues. So yes, I've been working on my own personal goals in that. So as a trainer, I have tried to reflect on my practices. I am constantly on a SWOT analysis on my own personal training that I'm delivering, that what went well and what could have been improved. So nurturing my skills on every step. I have written this last line as a trainer self-actualization process, because at times you feel that you need to be there, and at times you feel that yes, you have achieved your success and you are at the last step. So it happens many times, but again, we are still in the learning phase. There are many times and I feel that no, I have to practice more on that. So if I talk about the growth and mindset of the competencies, I have enhanced a lot of, I have done a lot of experiential training in the field, working with teachers. I would like to quote, in fact, a few examples of a few people who have worked directly in the field. I believe that the way we have delivered training, the way the British Council material was developed, and the way it was delivered, the way it was taught to us, and the way we cascaded it in the training field, it helped a lot of people to change the way the way to teach, their approach to teach. I was validating a person who came from the northern areas of Pakistan, and he was initially in the previous trainings that we conducted for CTPS. So when he was again chosen to be a master trainer, so he came to us again and he said that, ma'am, when I received the training on CTPS, I went back to my village, which is really very, very short of all these resources, and we have a very low infrastructure. Over there, I tried to develop my own. I actually opened up a free school where I asked a few village children to come and study with me. Initially, they were not agreeing to it, thinking that I'd have other plans and agenda of on my mind. But slowly and gradually, the way I started teaching them changed the attitude and perception of people and teachers, whom I work with. And many teachers started supporting me, and we offered this free education for all. So this is the mindset that I would like to talk about. This is how trainings actually change the perception of other people when you try to deliver things in the right way, in the right processes. So engaging learners with a focus on skills. Yes, because I said that I have also the experience of working directly with the students. Core skills is one thing that I have been into training as well, and delivering core skills not directly, but infusing it with a lot of teaching strategies and giving the students the opportunity to do a lot of hands-on experience regarding to different contents and subjects. Aligning standards, curriculum, and assessments, all practices according to 21st century. This I would like to elaborate, because in Pakistan recently we have the government, all the stakeholders have tried to make a single national curriculum, which is going to reduce inequalities at all levels. So over there, working as an SNC, we call it SNC in the single national curriculum. As an SNC expert, I was engaged in this process, and what we did was try to use 21st century skills, trying to map them with all those activities and assessments and all these practices. And things are changing, not at very, I would say at a speedy level, but yes, things are changing for good. For the very first time in my life, I have seen that even for the board exams, the assessment systems have changed from rote memorization to objective mode, or more of objective type of testing. So blending CTPS, creativity, communication, collaboration is being offered to a variety of learners. I will in my slides going to show you the pictures of some of the work of the students as well. Talking about the learning opportunities, I'll talk about the role of trained teachers. Because our role as GMT, we have trained a lot of teachers, but again, we could not reach out to all of the students and all of the teachers at the same time. So what we did was that through our expert trainers, they cascaded those trainings for those teachers, because we have a number of, I believe the numbers is in thousands. Pakistan has been, really, I would say, active enough to work with all these teachers and these principals in the field. And developing these skills in students to construct their own knowledge. We have been given students a lot of opportunity to develop their own knowledge, because over here the system tries to rely more on rote memorization, and over here the parental involvement is not at all accepted at many levels. Especially I'm talking about the government level, the public schools, and the low-income private school. Yes, for the elite schools, the parents are very much involved with the children's learning, but there is a huge gap when we talk about parental involvement at the low level. So we did try to help them out, and we did try to complete the triangle of learning. So I would like to share a few success stories, because one of my colleagues, Nigat, was supposed to present today, but she's not here, unfortunately, due to a family emergency. But she said that, Sarah, I would like you to talk about my project, the one that I did with my school and my students. As a principal, I was involved in it, and I would like everybody to look into our success story. So a few slides have been shared by Nigat over here. So she basically worked on a project with her students, and that was for ISA. And the project was basically, we wanted to use SDGs, and she wanted to make a plastic-free environment and, use recycling and reduce waste products, which are very common in especially over here, where children, we are adults, like to throw out the garbage. and the waste on the roads, in the schools, and anywhere, any place that they can find. So working on SDG 12, their school picked up this goal, and the main idea, the main focus was to help students realize their role as ambassadors, and to work with the parents, to work with the teachers, and to reduce waste, and basically to work on waste management. These are the slides that she shared with me. I'll just go through them. I'm not going to read the entire slides with you. So it was the project was on a plastic-free zone, and for future, she was saying that she collaborated with an organization. Again, they also work for waste management. They will be collaborating with them. They have actually been collaborating, and in the future, they look for more collaborations where these organizations are teaching students to they are teaching students to different ways to work with these waste managements, and in return they are gifting them with trees, which is very, very and everybody agrees to it. It's very important for students to realize. So this is more of the campaign that was run in the school, that we're focusing on reducing plastic, because plastic in Pakistan is very common. Even if you go and purchase some vegetables or fruits, all shop vendors give you these plastic bags, and we all know that how harmful they are for the planet Earth. So these are the few pictures. I'll just take you through these pictures. And yes, now I would like to discuss some of the core skills implementation in the field. As I said, that I've directly worked with the students. A few things that I would like to, in fact, success stories that I would like to share over here is that we worked on a project that was named the Creative Learning Project. And when I went into the field for the very first time and I talked to the students, I'm basically talking about the low-income private schools and the public schools of Pakistan. So when I asked them that, students, are you familiar with stories, and would you like to share a story with us? They were so shy and so reluctant to even raise their hands. And even if somebody was so confident to share the story, they were actually repeating the same model stories that they had heard. Only those a few ones, like we are very familiar with the Thirsty Crow and things like that, stories like that. So when I asked them that, students, can we change the end of the story? They were like, how can we change the end of a story? The stories are the same. So they didn't have this concept that stories can be written by ourselves, and we can do book reading and we can make our own stories. So we worked on this project, and basically I'm not telling you about the project. I'm just trying to tell you that how we used creativity and how we used all these core skills, and we tried to infuse these skills in the students at the end. These are just a few pictures for you to see that these students who did not know the concept of writing created their own stories. They shared it with their students, with their friends, with their peers, and they made their own libraries and books, which were, because as I said earlier, that these were the underprivileged schools. They did not have storybooks, so they developed their own libraries, which you can see in this picture slide. Working also on we also worked on citizenship, character education, which is something, again, we are just seeing that students are like more. We used to share more, extend more respect to our parents, to our teachers, but students of these days, I don't know what is going wrong with these students. They slightly don't care much. They have this attitude that, okay, well, we'll see. So again, talking about core skills, we tried to use the creative story writing, and we used all these stories and came up with different books. These books are written by ourselves, and again tried to use different skills like citizenship, infuse different concepts of humanity in the students and in the parents by calling them up and making the students read these books with the parents. CTPS, which was very close to all of us, because this is where we started working off with. In Pakistan, that was the first core skills that we started working on. So the books were very, they're very redundant. They were like very boring for the students to read and to work on the same questions. So what we did was that we worked with these students and we prepared certain worksheets for them out of the context where they could actually imagine, think, and do, and practice, and communicate, and collaborate, and research. And we added all these WH questions over there and prepared those, because we could not change the syllabus, we could not change the curriculum. So we prepared extra material in such a way where they could use their reasoning skills and apply all those skills that had been delivered and taught to them. So a few more pictures for you where they're using their, again, STEM and STEAM in their classes. Chess, playing games, health, hygiene, these were all of the ideas that were also taught to the student, because we also believe that when we talk about CTPS, why not teach CTPS through playing games like chess, which can develop their intelligence, intelligence at different levels. So that's all from me, and a lot of slides, and I was quite quick to cover all through that. So any questions, I would appreciate. Rather, Joanne can tell us if you have any questions. We can take any questions right now or at the end of the session.
Absolutely. If anybody has anything for Sarah now, please pop it in the chat. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. It's amazing to see the pictures and hear the stories from somebody who works very much in the background, and doesn't see the teachers on the ground. It really is fantastic and quite humbling as well to see the work that's going on out there. It's really, really fascinating. I see Naila has shared her experience in her area, and as a master trainer, it's helped the teachers to embed the global goals and 21st century skills in their curriculum, and they won ISA Full Award. Fantastic. I'll just check the chat. Again, yeah, just really good to see what's going on the ground. So if anyone has any other questions, we can return to them at the end. But for now, we'll go back to Bangladesh. Mariam, are you okay to present now? If not, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah, thank you. Yes, I'm now ready. So let me have some time for sharing my slides. Let me see whether, is it visible?
No, I can see your camera. I can share them at this end if you like.
Okay.
Okay, you should be able to see that now.
Is this visible now? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I'm sharing my screen. Bear with me.
Okay. Okay, please do this. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Okay, thank you, Sir John. So, okay, thank you. Good afternoon to you all. So, probably I'm audible to you, yes?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, this is Mariam Begum from Bangladesh. Actually, since we have joined Connecting Classroom, so many changes have taken place. Actually, I do not have any evidence like photos or videos, but I can give some description of what kind of changes we have gone through. And I'm a teacher and also a trainer. So after we have gone through this Connecting Classroom training, so we have been trying to transform these ideas into our teachers, and teachers are getting actually transformed slowly. That means not at a speedy, that means a strong speed, but they are changing gradually. Gradually they are changing because they had their own mindset. So whenever we started training them, provided them trainings through this Connecting Classroom program, so they came to know these 21st century skills. And first of all, we struggled to convince them why these skills are important for our students. So after our training program, and they were actually convinced that yes, these skills are important for our students, because students are lagging behind in competition with other students in the job market. So for this reason, they realized that still, yes, they said, yes, our students need these skills. And for this reason, as our curriculum is centralized one, and we cannot change the curriculums, but being within the curriculum, we can apply the skills. That means implement the skills through their prescribed curriculum and the textbooks. And there is always opportunities for the teacher to, that means implement the textbook as the teacher can plan appropriately. If the teacher can plan appropriately, so then the teacher can implement the textbook, and through the textbook lessons, they can implement the actually core skills. And as we want to develop our students' skills together with their knowledge, so we try to give them hands-on experiences through their classroom activities. So this is what we are trying to do with our teachers. And I also have changed after having ideas from the core skills training. Can you please, Joan, go to next slide? Yes, actually, the skills, whatever we have, that means I gained from this core connecting classroom skills. So actually now we are aiming our practices to more deeper level rather than surface level, because during the classroom activities, if we cannot make our students involved in our teaching learning process, in our teaching process, then they can't learn properly. And previously our students were actually accustomed to memorize the things, and the exam were also designed in that way, which tested their memory, learning through their memory. So nowadays they are avoiding this type of test, and they are giving them, that means, questions which ask them to think critically, which help them to think critically and find their answers. So this is what now going on in our classroom teaching learning practices. That means we are away from now surface learning. We are aiming for deep learning. And we try to actually engage our students in classroom activities so that they can do the thing by themselves and then learn the thing. So this is what we are trying to do. And our teachers are also trying to do these things after having training from these connecting classrooms, because we have chances to visit some of their classrooms after having training. So I saw that, I was happy to see that they are, that means, trying to change their practices, and they are trying to involve the students in the classroom activities. And they are giving them opportunities for the students to work on their own. Students are doing now pair work, group work, and they are given opportunities to work on their own and find a solution to a problem given by the teacher, depending on the textbook lessons. And actually, for this reason, I think that we are trying to develop our own capacity as well as the capacity of the teachers, targeting our students' skill, developing our students' skill. This is our actually present practice. That means we are trying to do that. There are challenges, but still we are trying to do that. Please, can you go to next slide, John? Yes, actually we are trying to develop the competency of the students so that they can prove themselves competent to take part in any global competition, in any competition, and in any situation. They do not, that means, fail to prove themselves as competent one. So they are not only, actually now they are not only dependent on exam. Actually, previously in our education system, most of the students, that means in most of the organizations, most of the teachers were aiming to, that means, develop their students that means help their students to pass only the exams. They didn't think of developing their skills, developing their competences, and they didn't actually care for the learning outcomes. Nowadays, our education system is more trying to, that means to make it outcome-based education, so that after their completion of their studies, they can have something which is that means visible, which we can see, which they can prove, which is evidence based. So now we are trying for that, and actually for this reason our teachers are actually trying to do that nowadays. They are no more dependent on the exam preparation. That means they do not only help their students to pass the exams, and they actually try to develop students' skills through engaging them in such activities which help them to, that means explore their or unpack their potentials, and they try to, teachers are trying to develop their students to grow of their own. That means they can practice activities in the classroom, and they can relate their learning to the outside world. That means whenever they, in their real life situation, whenever they face any problem, so that they can solve that through their classroom, that means experiences. So this is what we are trying to do. And nowadays actually teachers also are aware that, so that the students become competent in the job market, not only to score high marks in their exam. So they are trying to develop their, that means knowledge as well as skills and practices actually. So I think this is what I also have developed myself in my classroom, because I have learned from the Connecting Classroom. This is very rich and valuable to me. So I try to apply those techniques in my classroom also, and I do involve in projects. So recently, whenever we were having taught with Sarah, I actually gave one example of my project in which I tried to develop our students' language skills, as well as their presentation skill, as well as their critical thinking and problem solving skills, because they were law students. So I involved them in a project to, that means role play in a courtroom, that means moot court room. And they were actually successfully able to do that in a way. Some of them were as audiences, and one of them were lawyer, one of them were judge. Like this, there was a very interesting class in which they could prove and show their abilities, whatever they have learned through the classroom practices. So this is what actually sometimes in some cases they need scores. That's true. So sometimes the parents and guardians of our students complain that if you involve your students in this way, in role playing and in some activities, and you do not give them any lecture, and you do not that means let them to learn something. So we do face this kind of that means complaints from the guardians and parents. So sometimes we meet them and then let them understand that not only the scores only will ensure their children's future, so they need to develop their skills also. So in this way we do try to convince them and try to actually involve students into activities so that they can take this classroom experiences to their real world. This is what we are trying to do. So please, can you go to next slide? Hello. So, and also another thing I actually learned from this core skills training, that in a classroom, all the students are not of equal abilities. So we have to take care of all the students in a classroom. So my that means delivery should be like that, so that we can address all the students equally and let them learn from others also. There may be some less, that means less ability. I should not say that less. Actually, some students may not be that much attentive in the classroom, and some students may not have that much, that means ability to grasp the ideas properly and easily. So in that case, I put them into groups so that they can learn from their peers. And in each group, I put one leader student who is very capable to help others to learn. So in that way, the less able students are being helped with their peers in the classroom. This is what also I learned from this connecting classroom, that means collaborating learning, and how to, that means develop collaboration abilities among the students, how they can help each other and they can learn also from each other. Because sometimes it happens that they feel shy to speak in the classroom. They are ashamed to, that means, ask their teacher. They are sometimes, that means, they keep quiet. They do not ask any question to the teachers. So in that case, I encourage them to ask questions. I help them with actually with their peers, and let them learn to from their classmates. So this is very easier for them. This technique works well, I have seen in my classroom. And also I ask other teachers to do the same thing, and I can see that the teachers are also in this practice, that they divide their classroom into group studies and then group members, and there are one leaders in the groups. He or she helps the other students in this way. So these are the things. Actually, we are no more in traditional practices. This is what actually, yes, that's true. Peer support is very important in the classroom. Yes. And can you please go to the next slide, John? Yes, and also I involve my students to work on such project that they need help from the community. They need information from the community. Sometimes they do these things. Suppose today is our Victory Day, so sometimes I involve them in some projects which is related to our liberation war. And you know that we have achieved our liberation after 9 months war, and that's our pride. There's a pride for all the Bangladeshis. So for this reason, if I give them some project on, that means on this liberation war, and to learn about the history of our language movement, so they need to go to the community and to talk to the liberation war fighters. There are some warriors, there are some fighters in their society, if they can find someone, and there are some local leaders, and they go to them, they take interview of them, and they talk to them. In this way, they develop their skills and they come back with the data. Then we sit together for analyzing the data. In this way, they get involved with the community. So sometimes there are some other project activities when they require to go to the community. So in this way, they get involved in the community. So I also encourage my teachers to do this type of activities, so our students can get involved with the community, and they can learn something from the community also, and they can get some help from the community for their learning. So this is what. And also sometimes we do some club activities in which that means they need to have some that means leaders to come to their club to deliver speeches. So in that case, they invite some of the community leaders, and then they get in touch with the leaders, and then they ask questions about the war, about their projects, so that they can have some information about their related topic. So this is what we are doing, and I have seen that in doing these things in this way, project work, students become so much that means interested. They become very happy, and they do this with enthusiasm, and they become very enthusiastic to do this type of projects. And sometimes they bring so many interesting data that's very wonderful for my that means students. They bring some wonderful data, and then we sit together and then analyze that data and then come to a conclusion, and then we give our own opinion, and I let them involved in the discussion later on, so that they can also develop their own opinion, and so that they can be able to develop their own opinion and create their own opinion, and they learn how to, that means place their opinion in front of the audiences. So this is what we are doing. That means there's lots of changes happening, though slowly, but still it's taking place. So I'm happy about that my students are becoming now more competent than previous time. And I also, whenever I am a trainer, I also encourage my teachers to do this type of activities. I do share these experiences, and I have seen some of the teachers, they have started doing this type of activities and involving their students in the activities. And in one training occasion, some of the teachers, they brought their videos and their photos of activities in their school, whatever they are doing. So I was happy to see that yes, they are doing this, and at least they are trying to do this. And actually in that case, I must say that in some cases they face difficulties, teachers. That means they say that there are so many extra administrative activities. So for this reason, sometimes they fail to do these things properly. So for this reason, head teachers need to be flexible towards our teachers. So sometimes they face difficulties from their head teachers because head teachers are also in pressure that if the students fail to pass in the final exam, high-tech exams, you know that in our countries there is this high-tech exams, SSC and HSC. So in that cases, sometimes they face challenges that the head teachers tell them not to do this type of activities with the students, rather involve them with the that means teaching, learning, with memorizing or with the solving of the questions so that they can pass the exams. Sometimes they face this type of challenges. So what I like to say that this type of challenges will be there, and always there are challenges whenever we try to bring about any changes. So it is very difficult for people to take challenge, that means take any change immediately. So it will take time. So what I can say from my experiences of Bangladesh, that is Bangladesh is rightly now on the way of changing their practices, classroom practices, due to this Connecting Classroom project. And definitely in near future we will see the result, I think. Okay, is there any slide left, John?
No, that's the last one.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. So for this reason, I think that actually, no, actually, someone has asked whether our teachers visit our students' home. In some cases, some of the teachers do that, and they do that before the high-stake exams. because then teachers are very cautious, and teachers become very anxious also together with the head teacher, because in our country, if the school, if the organization or an institution fail to, that means help their students pass the high stake exam to certain percentage, then the government allocation will be stopped. So for this reason, teachers try to do that always, and they are on a pressure always for this reason, because they do not try to lose the government allocation, because this government allocation is for the salary of the teachers. If they fail to get this, then the salary of the teachers will be stopped. So for this reason, they try to help their students for that means so that they can pass the high-tech exams. The percentage is okay up to the mark recognized by the government. So for this reason, they sometimes face difficulties and the assessment system in our country has not changed yet. Actually, the assessment system is I must say that defective one, because this only tests our memories in most of the cases. So for this reason, the students tend to develop their memorizing skill, and teachers also tend to help their students to memorize the things and pass the exam and follow the questions. So for this reason, this is challenging, but still we can overcome. I think still if we try, we can overcome. So is my time finished? 10 minutes?
Yes, thank you so much, Marianne, for that. It was really insightful, and thank you for referring to the question in the chat. Now, if anybody else has any questions or comments they'd like to raise, if you could raise your hand on Teams, and we will unmute your lines in turn. So whilst you're just having to think about anything you'd like to say, Hamish, have you got anything you'd like to add?
Listen, it's been absolutely phenomenal listening to those stories. So well presented. I mean, core skills is and connecting classrooms is something that I've been involved with as a teacher many years ago, and also in the not so distant past as well. And it's something that always gives, no matter what. As a teacher in the classroom, having the opportunity to learn about the core skills and connecting classrooms and link up different countries and different learners in so many different ways, and then as being a trainer and learning from so many people, having the opportunity to meet so many gifted, talented, passionate people, it's something that just keeps giving. And listening today about how connecting classrooms core skills has developed mindsets, how it's changed attitudes, and how it's building the competencies within teachers and within learners is phenomenal. And thank you so much for sharing those stories. I know that there are so many other stories out there left maybe untold, but maybe we have an opportunity to hear some now. Just maybe about the difference that people have noticed in students' engagement, whether or not that's them becoming more engaged in the learning process. Maybe it's about different students standing up, coming out of their shell, and engaging in the process more. Or maybe it's about the teachers and their approach to the learning process in the classroom itself. How have they changed? It's a different, and knowing, having been a teacher, I know how difficult it is to change your pedagogical practice, and the support of the trainers in offering them ideas and the reflective practice that it takes to do that. I know that there are so many gifted trainers out there on this call at this moment, and others that haven't been able to join. So maybe there's some stories about how teachers have tried new learning strategies as well. It would be fantastic to hear just a little bit more from other people, but really, thank you so much. It's been an awesome opportunity this morning to listen to, from some old friends, to see so many old friends on the call as well. And I hope we get to hear some more from you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Hamish. Mirza, I'll come to you now if you're okay to unmute your line, and then Nyla.
Yeah.
Mirza.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne, and thank you, everybody. Insightful presentation from everybody, and I learned a lot. And this question is to Mary from Uganda. Mary, are you there? Mary,
Yes, I am here.
Yeah. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I believe you are a policymaker, right? So far, I understand, right? Yes, you are
Right.
policymaker. Yeah.
Yes.
So my question, two parts, very small. I need to know that did you attend a training program from British Council, or did you observe the training program for the teachers? That's my first question. And second question is, have you heard there in your country from British Council instructional leadership program? And I think from my point of view, it's very, very, good for the policymakers as well. So have you understood my question, Mary? Mary, yeah?
Yes, I think I have.
Yeah, okay, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll begin with the one on instructional leadership. And I can say, yes, we've heard about instructional leadership, but much more than hearing about it is going on here in Uganda. We have 2 trainers for instructional leadership validated by British Council. They are undertaking instructional leadership. And it has been going on now for, this is the 2nd or 3rd year. If it is second, it is towards the end of the 2nd year. It has been going on. We have it. I was trained by British Council. Yes, I am a British Council trained core skills facilitator. I train leaders and I train teachers. I have observed. I've also had the chance to observe some lessons going on in the school of the teachers. Some people have invited me, and I have been able to see some of them. I have been so impressed by some who have already picked it up and are running away with it. And you just look at the lessons and you see a big difference in those lessons. You find that the way they used to do it is so different. In one of the regions where we went for school visits, those teachers asked us to wait, to go to them, and they were ready to wait up to past school closing time. In a primary school, I was watching a lesson at 6:30 p.m. when children were supposed to be home, but the school was saying, no, you cannot go without looking at this. And it was just amazing what the teachers could do with the learners and how they were doing it so differently.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I've exhausted your questions, haven't I?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? If you do, please feel free to open your line up.
Yeah, actually, I would like to say, instructional leadership, I think it's very important for Bangladesh also, because we are providing only leaders, leading core skills. So far, we have been training the leaders with leading core skills, intro to core skills and leading core skills. But instructional leadership, we were trained by, I think, you were there, Joan, or was there in Bangladesh. We were trained by them, and another 2 trainers, Girish and Jonna, probably.
Jonna, and Jonna.
We were trained by them on instructional leadership, and we found that this is very essential and very important for our leaders, because other than this instructional leaderships, actually they won't change their mindset, because they are with the policy of the government that they will try to pass the students in their skill rather than developing their competencies. So I think instructional leadership is important in that case. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Nyla, sorry, I passed over you before. Your hand went down, so I presumed you didn't want to turn, but please feel free to unmute your line now.
Thank you, Joanne. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear? Yes. I would like to add on to the point of the instructional leadership. I train teachers, and we find that all the head teachers who have been trained in instructional leadership are good to go. They help us when we are training the teachers to be able to implement properly the core skills in the school, because they have a know and they are doing it well, those who are trained. And we are finding those who are trained in instructional leadership are very, very good partners in helping the teachers to implement the projects and supervising them and trying to see how the core skills are really being put in place. And unlike where they weren't being trained in instructional leadership, we used to have challenges. You train the teachers, they go back to implement, the head teacher is not there, he's not on, he's not spot on, he's not moving, and the teacher gets frustrated. But
exactly.
In Uganda, in Uganda, where the teachers have been, the head teachers have been trained, the teachers find it very easy, and even us as trainers, you find that it is a good area which should be emphasized. And another point we really feel as trainers, that their plans should be in sync. When their action plans are in sync, then the work becomes a bit easier for us as trainers and as we follow up. So in Uganda, that's what we are feeling when we deal with leaders who have been trained in instructional leadership. Work is smooth. Where head teachers have not been yet trained, work is a bumpy road. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Bushra, would you like to unmute your line?
Thank you so much, Joanne, for giving me an opportunity. Actually, we were having, as Sarah just told, the ISA ceremonies. So I was a little confused whether I'll be able to join timely or not, but I did make it. So first of all, thank you so much, Mariam, Sarah, our colleague from Uganda, for sharing the amazing journeys we all have been through. Rather, I must say that you all have spoken our hearts out, because it was everyone's thought, that the way we have felt all through the course of the core skills journey. And if I talk about myself, starting from the connecting classroom till the time, it's been 2 decades now, that connecting with GSP programs, then moving on to the Global Citizenship Project, then stepping forward from the connecting classroom 1, 2, 3, and 4, and inshallah moving into the 5th program. I have seen that I have lived this very saying of Imam Ali, that don't force your children to behave like you, because they're born in the time that is different from your time. So what I say, that I have lived this very thing all through my journey. And our child's time is different from our time. Yes, we need to educate first ourselves, and then we need to educate them. And once everyone is sensitized, the sensitivity, how important these core skills they are, we cannot implement. And this is what I have observed as a trainer, as a teacher, as a principal, as an instructor, as a facilitator, that once everyone is informed, they implement it very effectively. And this is what I have seen in today's ceremonies as well, which were on in Pakistan for the last 3 days, that everyone who is informed through these core skills offer, they were very much practically handling all these things in their context very effectively, and they were celebrating them in the ISA ceremonies. So ultimate beneficiary, of course, is the child, and we all are, as policymakers, as head teachers, as teachers, as trainers, we are just facilitating them to handle themselves in the world they are going to enter, inshallah. And this is what I have found, that of course it is said, you teach, you learn twice. Yes, first I have taught myself the way I can deliver it to my people in my context. That has really made a remarkable difference all across Pakistan. Sarah has just shared Nigat schools implementation. There are thousands of examples that we can share. And connecting with people all across the globe, that has been a wonderful and amazing experience. If time allows, I can share 2 minutes, a presentation from our UK partner, if time allows. Otherwise, no issues at all. I can share it on the Core Skills Facebook page, so everyone can watch it from there. So, those connection. One of the students, he stated my visit in their school in Chester, that collaboration always brings success. you know, that has engrossed in my heart. Yes, collaboration brings success. And this is what we've been doing. Thank you, British Council, Pakistan, UK, and all the amazing educators, those who are collaborating and bringing these core skills, an amazing journey for each one of us. And I agree, yes, instructional leadership is really, really, being accepted by everyone here. And we are really enjoying imparting it and looking forward to some amazing years working on these skills ahead, inshallah. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Of course, share away what you'd like on the Facebook page after this, and I'll also set up a dedicated page on the Hub with the recording and a space where you can all upload your videos, photos, memories, anything you like.
Okay, thank you.
Station going. Now, I am quite aware that we're losing people because obviously they have other appointments. But Rola, would you like to say something for a couple of minutes?
Hi, I'm just going to take a couple of seconds. I don't know how everyone feels, but I am, my heart is bubbling with happiness to see all of this happening all over the world and to actually be part of this. I am so humbled with all of this. I am speechless because this connecting classroom has meant so much to me and has opened so many doors for me, that seeing that other people are thriving as well is just amazing. And knowing that change is taking place, no matter how small it is, because Mariam in Bangladesh, she kept saying that it's small steps, but even those small steps are going to lead to much bigger steps. And it's just, we planted the seed in there, and I think it's going to grow to many plants and trees. Thank you for having this this meeting. Thank you so much. It's been heartwarming. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear, and it's been obviously wonderful from hearing from everybody today. So I'd like to thank Susan and all our presenters for their insights, and also like to thank Brona for being there on the chat and allowing people into the call, and obviously all of you for joining us. Now, we've been quite busy in the background working on an updated version of the Hub, which will be launched tomorrow. Now, as well as launching the new look version, we also wanted to make it more interactive and would welcome your thoughts and suggestions on what you'd like to see on there in the future. So if you could let me know either on the chat here if you have anything in mind now, on the Facebook page, or on the Hub page where this recording is going to be, that would be fantastic. And it's also that time of year as well where we're planning the next round of the Baldev Sing Awards for 2022, where obviously you can win £1,000 towards any PD of your choice. So be sure to look out for the announcement that will be coming later on in January about that and how you can get involved in it. And as mentioned before, a copy of this recording and the presentations will be posted over on the Hub. So I'll drop an email out and pop it on the Facebook page when that's all live. And all that's left to do, I guess, is wish us all a very happy and healthy end to the year. And here's to 2022. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.